Anyway, let me keep going. Self-care from a biblical lens is being beautifully clothed with righteousness. Of course, you can be beautifully clothed in the natural, and that also is a form of self-care. But being clothed with righteousness is an even more important form of self-care. Being bountifully fed with wafers and wine, like the wafers. By wafers, I'm referring to the manna in the desert, and by wine, I'm speaking of the wine of joy. Okay, so wine in the Bible is often a picture of joy, and being heavenly hydrated with the crystal springs of the Word of God. Okay, so we know that we need to be hydrated in the natural, drinking water throughout the day, especially as the planet becomes hotter and hotter. We need to stay hydrated. So, but we also need to stay hydrated in a spiritual sense by drinking in the Word of God. That's something I'm still working on because I do really well with spending quality time with God, but a lot of times the day goes by and I don't read a word of the Bible. And I'm really trying to fix that. It's something that's happened over the past couple of months, and I'm trying to fix that because you if you want to have a healthy spiritual life, it's really important to spend time not just reading the word in a mechanical way, but studying the word in a thoughtful, musing kind of way where you're kind of talking to God while you're reading and musing and thinking about how things may apply to you or to me, right? So being hydrated is important. Being securely housed, like having a home built on rock. Jesus said that when we hear what he says and we do it, then we have a secure home or a secure life. And really, we can only hear what Jesus is telling us if we are close enough to him to hear what he's telling us, because usually God speaks in a very still, quiet voice. And even if you think of somebody speaking in a whisper in the natural, you have to be really close to them to hear what they're telling you. And it's the same with God. The closer we get to him, the more sensitive we become to his voice. Being a gym regular, so pumping godly iron, you know, um, the Christian experience is not an experience that's designed for perpetual comfort, you know? And it's kind of like the Christian journey or the Christian walk is kind of like an obstacle race that's designed to build spiritual muscle. So just like we need to get regular exercise in the natural, and that's also something I need to work on, which is also an important form of self-care in the natural. In the same way, we also need to exercise our muscle spiritually. That comes through having a relationship with God through salvation, through Jesus Christ. And yes, once we walk with God, I can guarantee he will design our life and the circumstances in our life in such a way that we will build spiritual muscle by his grace. And finally, self-care is being adopted into royalty, having a heavenly family to call our own. And when you're part of royalty, you get royal treatment, right? So, and you get royal education and all of the wonderful things that come with royalty. So self-care is knowing my heritage and knowing um, the legacy or the family, the group, the special group that I belong to. So this is the believer's self-care plan. And in the natural, if you have a family that you feel is toxic or in some way you feel they're not doing you much good, then you can align yourself with the family of God and spend time in God's presence and trust God to provide you with good friends or a new family, because the Bible does say that God sets a solitary in families. That's what he says in Psalms, the book of Psalms. On to the next slide.